Alright, the last video that we have for this inverse section is about being able to find the inverse algebraically. And again, it is just algebra, so it's actually pretty straightforward stuff. There's three things you need to do. To find an inverse algebraically, first thing you do is you swap the x and the y in the equation. Then you solve for y. And what do I mean by solving for y? Well, let's say you have, I don't know, 3x minus, or 3y plus 6 equals x minus 2, something like that. You need to perform algebra on it until it's just a y equals, and then everything else is on the other side. So that's what's meant by solve for y. And the last thing, that new equation is the inverse. Well, that just means that instead of having y equals and everything, you write down f inverse equals all that stuff. Now, it's important for you to understand, I pointed this out in another video, not every function has an inverse. So it's entirely possible for you to try to prove something algebraically that cannot be proven. Now, that's not to say that there's examples like that in your homework, but you should always keep that in mind. So let's try an example. Let's say that we have the equation f of x equals 5 minus 3x all over 2. Do you remember what the first step was? Step 1 was to swap the x and y. So when you do that, remember, this is just a way of saying y equals. So don't let the f of x confuse you. Okay, the next step was to solve for y. So here's our y. We need to get everything on the other side of it. Alright, so I start by multiplying by 2. And in this next one, since y is negative, I'm going to add 3y to that side, subtract 2x from that side. And then I just have to divide by 3. Alright, so now I have it as y equals, and that is the equation of the inverse. So I rewrite it, f inverse equals 5 minus 2x all over 3. Pretty simple stuff, would you not agree? Alright, so we're going to try one more example of this, but this one I want you to try on your own. There is the original. I want you to find the inverse algebraically. So pause the video right now, do that, and then I'll tell you how to do it. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll punish you because you decided not to actually do the work yourself. That would not be good. Okay, first step, swap the x and the y. So now I have x equals the cube root of 10 plus y. Next step, I gotta get rid of that cube root, and to undo that, I have to cube both sides. And I gotta get rid of this 10, so ultimately it's y equals x to the third minus 10, which is our inverse function. So we rewrite it, f inverse of x equals x to the third minus 10. That's all there is to doing algebraic inverses.